What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Bat Flip, episode 11. We're Kings of the East, baby. You can't take it away from us. The shirts are printed, or I guess they're kind of printed. They're pre-ordering.
They're pre-ordered. They're on the way.
They're basically printed. They're printed, so get you that East shirt. Is the first time that Tennessee has won the East since 1997, and we thought the '98 drought was long. 97's even longer. So I think that tells you a lot about how, just SEC baseball, how competitive and, crazy it is to compete in this conference. Talking Tennessee baseball, their win over South Carolina. Also mentioned some all SEC players that got that honor, maybe vent a little bit of what we should have thought happened and didn't. And also talk about just winning the East. Got some help from Kentucky. That's kind of weird. You never really get helped out by anybody, it seems like. But Kentucky helped you out by beating Vanderbilt. And then, Sean Hunley was dominant at the end of that Saturday game. And 3 straight strikeouts after giving up a leadoff double to start that bottom of the ninth, only up by a run. Just ice in his veins. So let's get into that real quick. Go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Here is a quick word from our good friends at Blue Water Climate Control.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something. And it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
All right, and we're back. So let's get right into it. Tennessee wins the East over Vanderbilt. Thank you to that rain out that they had against Alabama. Thank you for Kentucky for getting that win for us yesterday or on Saturday. And then thank you, Sean Hunley, for just being, so consistent like you've been all season long. And another really great weekend of baseball. It was competitive. It was intense. The big crowd of South Carolina. It was their first weekend of full capacity. So, you got that kind of a postseason feeling going there a little bit. The good thing is, you're not going to have to, in the regional, you're not going to have to play an SEC team for one. And you're going to be playing at home. That's got to be a lot easier than going on the road. But Tennessee has been pretty dominant on the road, winning all 6 of their SEC series on the road. I don't know when that's been done before. I know Arkansas did it this year as well. But as far as Tennessee goes, I don't know when the last time that's ever happened. But that's a pretty insane stat.
Had to have been a while, yeah.
Yeah. The sweep would have been nice, but, I thought the pitching was great all weekend long. Blades hit well, shoved it on Saturday. Will Heflin pitched well. Chad Dallas doing what he does, just, shoving it. And, I thought all weekend our pitching looked really well. Camden Sewell pitched pretty well. Didn't get that win on Saturday that you would have liked. But man, when you're a pitcher, if you only give up 3 runs in the SEC, you got to feel good about your chances at the end of the ball game. But just couldn't get it done in that game. Just couldn't get some runners in. But man, this the bottom of Tennessee's lineup looked to be the difference in this series. Those last 4 batters of Luke Lipsius, Jordan Beck, Pete Durkee, and Connor Pavoloni. I think that's what makes this team so dangerous is you have Liam Spence and Max Ferguson. And after that, from Rucker to Pavoloni, 3 to 9, you can basically interchange any of those guys. And it's no one's going to bat an eye. If Connor Pavoloni was your 3rd hole hitter, that would be fine. I wouldn't have a problem with it because that's just he's a really good hitter. But, yeah, he's your 9-hole hitter, and so that's got to be super annoying to opposing pitchers, opposing coaches to have to face a lineup like that can score so many runs at any given moment. I mean, I don't remember how many we scored in that inning against Texas A&M, but it was a ton.
So maybe something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot, especially those last 3 innings. I think we scored like 21 runs or something ridiculous like that. So, what kind of was your takeaway from this weekend, and maybe just getting that division win?
Yeah, just going off what you said there first. I mean, about 3 through 9, but really the whole lineup. The reason you kind of don't bat an eye, and you don't see the guys in the box bat an eye, is because they've all kind of been in another spot in the lineup before. It's not really anybody that's. I mean, Jake Rucker's been pretty much your 3-hole hitter all year. I mean, that's been pretty set in stone. But earlier in his career, he's not that guy necessarily. He's maybe your 6-7 hitter. Then I mean, it's you like the flexibility that everybody doesn't bat an eye because they've been there before. Jordan Beck start off the year. I mean, he's cleanup 5-hole hitter now. He's floating around 7. Kind of gives you that second cleanup hitter of the lineup once you clear the first round. So, I mean, it's good flexibility to have. It's you like having guys that have entrenched spots, but the way this program's been the last couple of years, every spot was up for grab. I mean, you've kind of seen some guys grab and take hold of that, but they really don't care when they're going to bat. I mean, you look at a guy like Liam Spence. Any place, anytime you put him in the batter's box, his goal is just he's getting on base somehow, and he does it all the time. So, yeah, I mean that's a good takeaway there, just because we've seen it from all these guys before.
Right. I just think they're dangerous. And, I know we're going to talk about the SEC tournament here in a little bit, but just kind of like, I think we have a question already. Are we going to take it easy in the SEC tournament, or do we think we should go ahead and try to win it all? I'm kind of like indifferent about it. Like, I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Obviously, you're not going to throw Chad Dallas, Blade Tidwell 9 innings. Like, that's just dumb. Like, you're not going to do that. So, but I think I think Vitello said on the Swain event today that they're going to be available. We'll kind of see what happens from there. But it could be like they're coming out of the bullpen, just getting some work, getting ready for that next week of regionals. But whoever it is out there, Tennessee can put up runs with anybody. So I'm not really concerned about we have to have these guys pitching, because like everybody's going to kind of be in that boat that you play. Like if you play South Carolina, they're going to be in a regional. Alabama's going to be in a regional. So, I mean, they're going to be in that same boat where, they're going to already have to play a game on Tuesday before they even play Tennessee. So, they might be even further down their rotation than Tennessee would be. So, I'm not really concerned about it. I think, yeah, definitely you want to win the regional over the SEC tournament for sure. But I think this team is super competitive. They want to win every game that they play.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not really used to it with, the recent history of Tennessee baseball. And I mean, you could say it about other sports as far as like bowl prep, stuff like that. Basketball, the SEC tournament, you can look at that. But I mean, there's a way that you can still get quality reps from guys and be competitive in ball games. And I mean, that's going to be the ultimate goal. But I think too many people look at it as like, hey, we're going to bench some starter. We're going to bench starters, let young guys play, and see how far we can get. I mean, no, you can play your main guys. Just, yeah, like you said, there's no reason that Blade Tidwell has to go out in the second round game if he's out there and throw his shoulder out of socket. I mean, there's just there's no need for it, and it's nice to have a team now. I mean, obviously they're number 4 in the country everywhere you look, just about. I mean, it's nice to have a team where you can get to your 5th guy in the bullpen, 4th, 5th guy in the bullpen, and still, I mean, those guys have seen SEC play now, so they're going to be just as ready, just as competitive as anybody else. So, yeah, I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think you can get quality from both parts there, and still be competitive enough to, obviously, after you've got a first round bye, you're going to get a little bit of rest anyway. So, yeah, I don't think it has to be one or the other necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to a little bit of that South Carolina game, we talked about the bottom of the lineup, and Pavloni had a really great weekend, and all 4 of those batters really did. I think Pavloni was 3 for 9 in the series, 5 RBIs. Dirk was 5 for 10 with 2 RBIs, and then Luke Lipsius was 5 for 11 with 4 RBIs. and a couple home runs in that series. Tennessee's bottom 4 batters accounted for 17 of their 28 hits in the series, and then 12 of their 17 RBI. So, I mean, I think we were talking about, like, when we started the show, it was, going like right when we got into conference play, it was like, yeah, the top of this lineup is kind of carrying this team. Well, now it's like, if the top of the lineup has a bad day, I think the bottom of the lineup is super capable of, picking up the slack. Like Liam Spence, that on base streak ended on Thursday night. So, he kind of struggled this weekend, but it didn't matter because Tennessee has really great hitters all throughout their lineup. And that's what makes them a really dangerous team. And we're talking about the SEC tournament, and this team, like there's no need, like you said, to throw out Blade Tidwell's arm, because Tennessee legit has a shot to win a national championship. Like that's not out of the realm of possibility, is it?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're going to need some, the baseball gods on your side at times. You're going to need some luck. You're going to need some, Sports Center top 10 plays to get there. But like it's a possibility. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility that Tennessee can win a national championships. Yeah, I think you want to win those games in Hoover, but there's a bigger goal after that.
Yeah, it's just, I'm smirking because it feels good to actually, every year. I mean, we're almost in June now. We know what happens with football. I mean, right now you look at every record projection, and it's more reasonable than what it's going to be come August 31st, when it feels like 98 that you hear every year. It's nice though that this baseball team, like you said, you have national title aspirations. Like it's kind of, I mean, you don't want to say Omaha or bust. I don't think necessarily, but it kind of feels that way. Like but it's nice to have a team like that, to where you can say that, and it's not out of left field. It's, hey, you're top 5 in the country. You kind of should be there, man.
And what about this? This team just loves the moment, it feels like. I mean, you had Max Ferguson in that Arkansas series shine. You had the Evan Russell, the 3 home run game against Vanderbilt. Drew Gilbert had 2 walk-offs in the same day. That game against LSU carried over into the next day, and they walked it off twice in that series. But like Sean Hunley, the way he came in. He came in limited the damage, did give up a run, but you're still in the lead. But I think it went against Blade Tidwell because those runners were on when Blade left the game. But and then the 9th inning to give up a double, I was like, oh man, that's tough. That's tough to get out. But like he didn't flinch, and just like this whole Tennessee roster, like they don't flinch. And he just came out and went after those guys. And South Carolina, their top 2 batters were 2 of the guys he struck out. It was Brady Allen and Eister were that second and third out in that inning to win that series. And, it came down like that. You had to win that game to win the East. Clay Walker mentioned Tony V got snubbed of Coach of the Year. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that here in a second. But Sean Hunley on the weekend was pitched 3 in a third inning, 0 runs, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts. I mean, just a solid performance from a kid who's done it all year. Yeah, he's not the Kevin Kopps of the world, but man, he's as good as it gets. Like if it's not Kevin Kopps, he's got to be your reliever of the year, or at least close to it.
Very, in my mind, very underrated moment of the year. Like, I mean, obviously the Max home run, Evan Russell, that's going to stick out. But I don't know the last time that I've seen a pitcher, and like you said, it was first batter, maybe first pitch. I don't remember, that roped the double down the line. But after that, I don't know the last time I've seen a pitcher just place the ball exactly where he wanted to on every pitch on those 3 strikeouts. Like on the outside part of the zone, they were mentioned on the broadcast too. I mean, he was just painting. Like he'd move it out 2 inches just to see if he'd get that call. But if not, he could bring it back in 2 inches. I've never seen a guy that just was on his game like that in that big of a moment. Never seen it. No, but I haven't seen it from a while, especially not in college baseball, where, like we mentioned before, South Carolina had a really good crowd, good stadium there. They're good tradition, good tradition in their program. So that's not like you went into Charlotte, something like that, or East Tennessee. You didn't go do it there. You did that with a regional on the line, with South Carolina playing for that. And he was spotting it wherever he wanted to on the outside black. So yeah, I just had to throw that in there too.
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina not too long ago, they went back to back with the College World Series, and won the whole thing twice in a row. So yeah, I mean that's a historic program, and a program like, you've been on the road, but it's not been full capacity, and it's not been a team like a South Carolina who's hungry, playing great at the time. They were just coming off a sweep to Kentucky, and you just went in there and kind of dominate. I mean, you lost that game Saturday, but until that 8th inning, all of South Carolina's runs were off home runs. Like, it was 3 home runs were the difference, or what separated those two teams.
3 3-run bombs, I think. All of them were 3-run bombs. Was that right?
That might
I feel like I saw that maybe.
I think one was a 2-run bomb.
Okay.
I think, but like, what the difference was in the series was the bottom of Tennessee's lineup produced and South Carolina's didn't. Like, after their 3 best hitters, it was Brady Allen, Eister, and then Wes Clark. After those 3 guys, like, you could kind of take a little bit of a deep breath there, because they just couldn't produce. And those 3 guys are legit, like, they're studs.
Wes Clark is that dude. Yeah, I mean, he gets in the box and everybody kind of sits up in their seat a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, oh crap. And Brady Allen was that same way this weekend. I mean, he had a better series than Wes Clark did. But yeah, those 3 guys and to strike out 2 of them at the end of the game was just, kind of a way to cap it off. With just a great series. So MVP, you want to go MVP? Who we got?
Yeah, I'll go with the man Luke Lipsius. I mean, you mentioned he was 5 of 11. He had, I think, scored 4 or 5 runs, 4 or 5 RBIs, had a couple bombs, almost in the same identical place too, in right field. But I think they mentioned it on the broadcast. I don't remember if it was Burke or Tom Hart that said it, but they had mentioned that, talking to other coaches, they thought Luke Lipsius was the guy in the lineup that kind of had the most pop out of anybody. Just the ball was a little bit different coming off his bat, which we've been watching him all year. I kind of think that's more of a Jordan Beck type. I mean, obviously Evan Russell's been knocking the cover off the ball all year, but I don't disagree that every time you see Luke's average isn't up there with the top of the conference, anything like that. But I know against Arkansas, he had a long at bat, and it was like everything he hit was just solid. Like, I think Tony V's mentioned before that he has one of the highest hard contact rate or exit velocity, whatever term you use to describe it now. But every time he gets a piece of it, it's got a good chance to go somewhere hard. Now, if it's right at somebody, that's just the nature of baseball. Like that, you can do everything right in at bat, and it can be a line out to the second baseman. And that you're watching on the broadcast, or you're watching in the stands, and you don't necessarily pick up on that. But I've got to give it to Luke Lipsius, just because he had a weekend where just about everything he did hit hard was either out of the park, or was a double that drove in a couple runs, a sac fly, something like that. So it's like, we've seen it before with him this year, but it's like everything he's been doing all year kind of paid off in this series, and it was in big times where you needed it to.
Yeah, he had an incredible weekend. And you mentioned the pop, and like, I think he's super underrated as a defender too.
Yeah.
Not just with the bat, just like, he's made some plays at first base. He made one where he dove into the stands there at South Carolina. He's made some plays where he's had to stretch over the bag at times and make some plays at first base. I just think he's a veteran, and it's kind of it's showing that he's a veteran. Like, he's just playing great at the right time, and that's what Tennessee needs. Guys just in their element right now. It's money season. That's what it is. It's money season. This is where you get paid. This is where, scouts are like, okay, when something's on the line, how are you showing out? How are you different? And Tennessee's players to this point have really showed out when the game's on the line. So super excited for the postseason play. I think Hoover is going to be fun because even if you're not a fan of base, if you're just a fan of baseball, I think it's going to be fun because people aren't throwing Rocker isn't throwing 9 innings. Jack Leiter isn't throwing 9 innings. Chad Dallas isn't throwing 9 innings. You're going to get to see a lot of pitchers just kind of sprinkled in there, getting ready for postseason play or regional play. And I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored. So I think it's going to be super entertaining. That thing gets started on tomorrow at 10:30. I think Kentucky and Florida kick it off. Tennessee will play on Tuesday at 2, and they play the winner of South Carolina and Alabama. So who do you got? Who's winning this thing? Is it just a crapshoot, just kind of like the whole SEC?
I mean, I've got the bracket pulled up. I mean, we play South Carolina, Bama 7-10 in that first matchup. I mean, Arkansas is obviously the favorite, but Vanderbilt's sitting at the 4 seed, and with kind of the way everything went down this last weekend, I mean, you kind of I saw the stat they were 38-0 this year when leading after the 8th inning. I think I saw that somewhere, and then they blow it there in the 9th against Kentucky, a team that we mentioned before. I know I mentioned earlier in the year that Kentucky may surprise some people. They're a young team, and like I said before, they're a young team that they don't know that, oh, you're supposed to be scared of Vanderbilt. You're supposed to be scared of Arkansas. So Vanderbilt kind of being in that 4 spot right there, still getting a first round bye, even after losing the East this weekend, that they do kind of worry me there. But I mean, everything I've seen from us, I want to see an Arkansas rematch. If there's one thing I'm looking forward to, I want to play them again. Nothing would make me happier than, I don't know, with the way the bracket sets up. I don't know if it would be us beating them to play potentially Vandy in the championship, or just playing Arkansas straight up in the championship.
So they're the ones. So it would be if both teams keep winning, I think it works out where I guess we'd play. Then if we lost, we'd have to play again and have to beat them twice. Is that kind of how that works?
I think so. Looking at the SEC tournament bracket, it kind of makes my head hurt. But yeah, I think that's right.
It's a puzzle for sure.
Yeah. It's the winner of this game, loser of game 7. I don't know how it lays, but yeah, I'd love a rematch against both of them, but for the crown too.
Yeah, I mean, what about Kentucky on Saturday getting that win? I mean, that was insane. I even tweeted when they got their second out. I tweeted, I was like, "Oh, thanks, we couldn't get any help from Kentucky this weekend." So I'm taking full credit for that reverse psychology or jinx or whatever you want to call it.
Old takes exposed must not have been logged in this weekend. I mean, they would have saw it.
So I mean, they had no runners on. I think they were down to their last strike, and the pitcher thought he got the last strike, and they called it a ball. And then the next 5 batters hit the cover off the baseball. 2 of them home runs, and just to go up 7-4. I mean, that was just a wild series that we saw. Wild game. Because it looked over. It looked dead in the water. And then at Vanderbilt, we're secure in the East, and then they just choked it away. That was almost exciting as Tennessee getting that win. It wasn't, but it was up there. Seeing Vanderbilt losing like that was pretty great.
Oh, that'll always make me happy. Yeah.
So let's talk about these all SEC teams or whatever this crap is. I guess the coaches vote on this, but Dave Can of Corn won SEC Coach of the Year. You had 3 Tennessee players be named to a team. So you had first team was Liam Spence and Jake Rucker, and then Blade Tidwell is all freshman team, and then Liam Spence is also all defensive team. So, great for those guys. They deserved it, and the Tony V thing, it just he should have been the Coach of the Year. I don't care what anybody says. Arkansas is number 1, blah blah blah. I don't care. Look at where Tony Vitello took over and led this program to. I mean, it's just far beyond more impressive than anything Arkansas did this season. Sorry.
No, you're right, because that was the exact point. I don't remember. I was trying to find it there, but I'll keep looking. I think it may have been Charlie Burris on Twitter that I'm going to credit it with, but he broke it down that I mean, I know preseason Arkansas wasn't just number one and clear cut, but for the majority of the season, Arkansas has been
up there.
They've been one. They've been top five all year. I mean, they've looked like the best baseball team in the country for the majority of the year, in my opinion. Arkansas, your Van Horn took over Arkansas with a ton of talent on it like that, with guys like Cops in the bullpen that are as close to a sure thing as you can get, and did what he was supposed to with them. Tony Vitello took, I think he worded like a fringe top 25 team where you lost some guys from last year. Yeah, you looked like a good squad last year. You 15-3 before everything shut down, 15-2, but you knew there was promise there, but you didn't know. It was the unknown. He did that and turned them into a consensus top 5 team for, I mean, how long have we been floating around the top 5 since SEC play about started, really?
Yeah, probably after LSU is when we started.
A month or two, yeah. And has kept them there while losing arguably your number one starter, or I'll say Jackson Leaf, you're probably your most pro-ready guy.
Yeah, you're definitely one or two.
Right, the guy that the scouts. I mean, Chad Dallas. Nobody can argue. Now I'll get into Chad Dallas being left off the list too, because that was just an abomination. But the guy that the pro scouts are going to be looking at was Jackson Leaf. You lose him early in the year. You have a hole there for a while. You've got Heflin that has stepped up in a big way all year, but there was just so much more unknown with the Tennessee team. And we've seen that. Who's to say Tennessee's not right on Arkansas's level? I mean, they're both going to be hosting regionals now, 1 and 2 seed in the tournament, and 1 run separating them when they played. I mean, a series that literally a couple calls here, a couple hits here goes the other way.
Oh yeah, I mean, Christian Franklin doesn't make that play in center field when they're up 5-0. It's a 7-0 game, and Tennessee wins that 7-6.
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, just no margin for error in that series that separated those two teams. But so like you said earlier, I hope that they get to play each other again, because that'll kind of settle. I don't know if it'll settle. It won't. It probably won't settle it for Arkansas fans, but it's going to settle it for me. If you win in Hoover, I think you can kind of tip your cap to whoever wins that game as the better team.
And before, I just had a quick question before we get off that. I wanted to ask you, not necessarily the series against Arkansas, but I don't think it would have changed anything. But since it's voted on by the coaches, apparently, I wanted to ask your opinion with the little, I won't say scuffle, but the disagreement Vitello and Van Horn had after the game. I didn't think it was a big deal, but in the minds of other coaches in the league, you've got Van Horn, who's kind of the more older, established guy, well-respected, which all rightfully so, he should be. I mean, he's done an incredible job with them. You've got Vitello, who's he's up and coming, definitely. He's scaring a lot more guys in the SEC now, just kind of what he's building, the way that he coaches, the kind of attitude that he has, that take no prisoners, which I love. Do you think if that little kind of disagreement doesn't happen there, do you think that changes votes? I don't know if it does necessarily, but when I saw that pop up, I saw it was voted on by the coaches. I wondered what your thoughts would be on that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want Tennessee to be good. I mean, that's just another team that they got to compete with every single year. Like teams like LSU, Florida, Arkansas, Ole Miss, teams like that, they don't want Tennessee to be good. They see this young coach that's fiery, that'll tell you exactly how it is. Yeah, it probably rubs them the wrong way. So, am I surprised by Dave Van Horn being the SEC Coach of the Year? No, but I think it's stupid, because Dave Van Horn, the first year Vitello was a coach, Dave Van Horn was a runner-up in the College World Series. Should have won it, but didn't, because he choked it away. And then the next year, they go back to the College World Series in 2019. So the last College World Series Arkansas was at. So, like, I don't understand, like, how the job Tony Vitello's done should have been it's far greater than what Dave Van Horn did. Like you mentioned, like, he inherited he had a good team this year. they were expected to be good. There was a lot of question marks with Tennessee with who they lost and who they were bringing back with the loss of Jackson Leaf.
Just look at the bullpen. I mean, Kevin Cops, like I said, Kevin Cops is. I mean, you don't look at anybody, especially a college athlete, and think he's invincible. But what we've seen from him all year, I mean, you can pull him out of the bullpen at any point, and I'll say 99.9% of the time, he's going to hold it out for you. Like, you're going to win that game. Tennessee has not had that all year. And I'll end it with this. If I haven't placed a wager in a while, but if I did right now, I know who Paul Maneri from LSU voted for.
Oh,
you think he voted for Vitello, you're insane.
Anybody that played in Knoxville this season with the Vol Creatures or the Legends of Lindsey Nelson. Yeah, they're not voting for Tennessee in anything. No, I'm surprised Tennessee got 2 first teams, honestly.
Yeah, Max Ferguson, how is he not your defensive? If there's a defensive team, how is he not it for second base?
How is he not? How is Evan Russell not? As many times as he's made a diving catch and into a wall and stuff like that.
Liam Spence, we've been incredible all year. I was more shocked he made it for defensive team out of anything. Yeah. And that's not a knock against his defense. Like, I think his defense has been good all year. And not a slight to him, but how does he make the defensive team and Max Ferguson doesn't? I mean, if you want to say his hitting all year wasn't up to par, even though he's got hot late, yeah, I get that. Like, it's a season-long award, I understand. But if you're going just purely defensively, I think it was the Arkansas second baseman. Is it Robert Moore that won it? And I saw he was very good over there too. Not taking anything away from him, but that was the one that if you're going to have a defensive team and Max Ferguson wasn't on it this year, that blows my mind. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and Jordan Begg not being a newcomer.
Yeah, I don't.
How? I mean, Carter Young made it, and Jordan Beck has more RBIs and more hits than he does. So, like, how does that make? I just don't know. Like, what are we looking at?
Chad Dallas.
What are we? He's 9-1 in the SEC. He doesn't have a 97-mile-an-hour fastball like Leiter and Rocker. So that's way more impressive than what they're doing.
I mean,
right? Is that not correct?
It was Wicklander. Is that how you say his name, from Arkansas?
Yeah, and we freaking smoked him.
Yeah, Cops got pitcher of the year. No argument from me there. I agree. If I had a vote, I'd put it with Cops there. That's just me personally. But Patrick Wicklander, that was second team. Yeah, on second team. And I mean, Jack Leiter, he's been good this year, but I don't think Jack Leiter was just head and shoulders above everybody for first team spot. If you want to put him there, like, that one doesn't shock me as much, but the Wicklander over Chad Dallas at 9-1, that blows my mind. I mean, without looking at Wicklander's stats, it still blows my mind. And I doubt it's as good as Chad Dallas's is. So
I mean, all they're probably looking at is ERA, which whatever. I mean, congrats. Yeah, you're on Arkansas's team. Yeah, you're probably going to be. Your ERA should be small. I mean, you have Kevin Cops coming in right after you. So.
Even if he has 10 wins compared to Chad Dallas's 9, I'd say half those go to Kevin Cops.
Wicklander's 5-1 on the season. If that tells you anything, there you go.
And yeah, Kevin Cops is. I'd be pretty good if I knew, hey, just don't let the ship sink, and then I've got Kevin Cops coming in, and I get an easy win. And
absolutely.
Just try to keep it low, get some ground balls maybe, and then we go to Cops and he shuts it down. I don't know. It doesn't surprise me because I mean we've seen snubs like this before, and
we're playing that new age of baseball. We have the bat flips, and we're fiery and gritty, and I mean we wanted all of Arkansas. Even after the game, we were like, we're still ready to compete. We can throw some hands. So yeah, we probably rubbed some people the wrong way. So I don't, like you said, I'm not surprised by it, but it's just kind of laughable at this point. But hey, if it gives Tennessee another kind of reason to,
that's what I was going to say,
freaking destroy somebody.
From that standpoint, I kind of like that.
Add fuel to the fire, baby. I love it.
Tony V, he may say, I don't care, give the coach speak, give whatever you want to call it. Like, I guarantee you, if he would have lost it to somebody else, like maybe he doesn't care as much, but his former boss, after a what do we go 42-14 year,
Mhm.
if you try to tell me that didn't fire him up, so from that standpoint, from the standpoint of our guys getting the recognition they should, yeah, I don't like it. From the other side of the spectrum of that's more fuel on the fire now, and it means that we go out in the tournament or in Omaha, wherever it is, and we play in Arkansas, Vandy, and that pushes you over the edge, then don't give us any recognition at all. Put a bunch of Missouri guys on there ahead of us.
We'll take the numbers on the fence out there and right or left field. That'll be fine with us. We're all about hanging banners. You know, this team seems like they don't really care about the individual awards. You know, it's all about winning at this point. So hopefully this next episode, we're kind of wrapping things up now. Next episode we'll talk about the SEC tournament, see how Tennessee does. I guess then we'll find out where or who Tennessee will play in the regional, in the Knoxville regional. So get your tickets while you can, because they're probably going to be a pretty penny at some point. The longer you wait, it's probably going to go up even more. So get your tickets. Get ready, because it's going to be a fun sight in Knoxville for this regional and super regional. I guess hopefully a super regional at that point.
Yeah, it's I think it may be, for some teams, it may depend how they do in the SEC tournament. That's going to kind of base after that. But you hope you win the whole thing. But the regional in Knoxville is going to be, if you do, it's still going to be insane. Even if you don't, though, it's going to be crazy actually hosting a regional there. So regardless, I mean, you want to go win the whole thing, kind of like we talked about before. However you have to do it, with resting guys, playing guys, but go try to win it, because that'll just make it even more insane then.
Yeah, go win. Tennessee, Tony Vitello put it, some Tennessee players have some big stones. So, hey, hopefully, just go win the tournament. That's all we want. Thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it. And we're out.